Hello friends, I am Manish Maharshi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Dungar College, Bikaner. Today I will give you a brief introduction about the famous Victorian poet Robert Browning. So let's start. Along with Alfred Lord Tennyson, Browning is the other major poet of the Victorian era. Born on 7th May 1812 in London, Browning did not receive much of the formal education, but in his father's library he acquainted himself with Greek and Latin. Browning is a prolific writer and he wrote extensively. He mastered the poetic form of dramatic monologue and psychological portraiture of his characters. His most noted work is The Ring and the Book, published in 1868-69, which narrates the story of a Roman murder trial in 12 books. Most of his earlier writing before 1846 was for theatre. Browning wrote many dramas for theatre, namely Pauline, Paracelsus, Sordello, and others, but they were never completely effective and they were they were mostly unsuccessful. Gradually, he started writing dramatic monologues and perfected this form completely, which later became his favorite form also. In year 1845, Robert Browning met Elizabeth Barrett, who has praised Browning in one of her poems. They started seeing each other and discovered love for one another. Elizabeth Barrett was of weak constitution and her health never supported her. Later, she eloped with Browning, much against the wish of her father, to Italy. They married secretly there, and after their marriage, her health started improving, but not for very long. Soon her condition started declining and she died in June 29, 1861 in her husband's arm. As we have discussed earlier, that the Victorian era is the era of pessimism and doubt. It was mainly because of the Darwin's evolutionary theories. But when we look at the philosophy of Robert Browning, it is much in contrast to his era. Many times his philosophy is termed as robust optimism, but when we look deeply, his philosophy is not very profound or neither it is interesting. It can be concluded as one of the easy optimistic theory. Browning's poetry and other writings are considered to be obscure and difficult, but it is mainly because of his references, resources which he takes from very less known areas and periods. Besides this, his compressed writing style in a telegraphic manner is also responsible for his obscurity and difficulty in understanding. But once the reader is engaged and know his sources, his poetry is interesting and presents no difficulty in understanding. If we read Browning's poetry, we will find that the most striking feature of his poetry is the presentation of the psychological portraiture of his characters. A little later in the same century, Austrian psychiatrist and psychologist Sigmund Freud gave the concept that man is much more than what he appears on the surface. He suggested and proved that a very little part of human being belongs to conscious mind and the rest is hidden but always active deep inside every one of us. He named that unconscious mind. Browning gave hints to expose this part of the character in a very critical state and which on its surface appears very dramatic. Browning tries very hard to delve deep into the soul of his character and tries to present before his reader the psyche of his character. His deep interest in the psychology of human being makes him select those characters who present interesting studies in human psychology. Browning's poetry tries to dissect the soul of his character and present before us the unknown part of their mind and psyche. He depicts not only what one is doing, but why one is doing what he or she is doing. He can present his character's inner world in a very systematic manner. Browning's best work are dramatic lyrics, dramatic romances, men and women, dramatis personae. Men and Women, Dramatic Idols first series, Dramatic Idols second series, and many more. Browning was not much concerned about the incidents happening in his age. He kept himself in a way aloof from the development and tendencies of his age. Mostly he drew his material from the historical periods and characters, although other writers and poets were also drawing their material from history, but in their writing we find that the problem of their age is reflected. If we see that which historical period attracted Browning most, then we will find that Renaissance period fascinated him very much. Renaissance scholars, poets, painters, sculptors, musicians find dominant place in his poetry. This aloofness from the tendencies of his age and incidents of his age also resulted in the philosophy that 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 was maturing in his mind. Now we will see the poetic form that has been chiefly associated with Robert Browning. Robert Browning is known for his highly sophisticated dramatic monologues. He wrote perfect monologues such as My Last Duchess, The Bishop Ordered His Tomb at St. Pax's Church, Fra Lippo Lippi, Andre del Sarto, Last Ride Together, Grammarian's Funeral, and many more. Dramatic monologue is a poem which, in the form of a speech of an individual character, it puts into a single vivid scene a narrative sense of the speaker's history and psychological insight into his character. Browning wrote such perfect dramatic monologues that these are chiefly associated with his name. But in fact, this form is very old, as many Old English poems are dramatic monologues, such as The Wanderer, The Seafarer. Browning's contribution to this form is one of the subtlety of the characterization and complexity of dramatic situation, which the reader gradually picks together from the casual remarks and digressions of the speaker. The subject discussed is usually far more less interesting than what is unknowingly revealed about the speaker himself. Dramatic monologue is not strictly a dramatic art form, for it is not, as a rule, intended for presentation to an audience. It found particular favor with Browning, who may be called its chief exponent, though Tennyson also used it with masterly skill, as in Ulysses and Tithonus. It is cast in the form of a speech addressed to a silent listener. Its aim is character study or psychoanalysis without the other dramatic agents of incident and dialogue. The person who speaks is made to reveal himself and the motives that impelled him at such some crisis in his life or throughout its course. He may speak in self justification or in a mood of detached self explanation, contented or resigned. Much of Browning's finest poetry is in the form of the dramatic monologue, and he showed an amazing skill in amusing for this purpose the personality of a figure, historical or imaginary, far removed in time and nature from himself. Occasionally, indeed, it was Browning who uttered his own thoughts through the mask, but more often his imagination had captured a whole mentality and outlook he certainly did not share. His masterpiece, The Ring and the Book, is a series of 10 lengthy monologues of this kind, in each of which the story of a famous trial in Italian history is told from a different point of view, with a prologue and an epilogue. The method afforded scope to Browning's interest in character without requiring him to introduce action, for which he had little aptitude, though he wrote dramas which were produced on the stage. He raised it to the rank of a major poetic form by making it the repository of his ripest experience and profoundest reflection. It embodied not only striking revelation of human passions and aspirations, but also valuable passages of ethical teaching, while still make him, for many readers, a potent and inspiring force. It is drama, poetry, and philosophy all rolled into one.